Great. So today we're going to be working a bit on arm and shoulder foundations. And we've actually been using our arms throughout most of our exercises in different ways, but we haven't really talked about arm placement. And when it comes to Pilates, I'm not necessarily going to be doing an arm workout today. What I'm really looking at is just some fundamentals around what the core of your arm is. And so when we think about, we've been working our belly core quite a bit. We've talked about our transverse abdominis, we've talked about the outer rectus abdominis. But when it comes to the arms, there's also a core of the arms. And this really comes into the upper back and some of the big muscles along the back. And the more that you engage these muscles with appropriate placement, the more you actually take tension out of the arms and help prevent shoulder injuries. So let's start with a seated position. And as we go through classes, always, if you've got any specific injuries or anything that you're working with, just be mindful and listen to your body. So finding our sits bones here. And if you feel comfortable with it, you can close your eyes or just take your gaze inwards. And we're just going to take a few moments here to land in the body. Noticing the parts of your legs that touch the floor, parts of your seat. Allowing your belly to be soft as you breathe. Noticing your sits bones, making sure you're evenly balanced on both. And you can imagine rooting your tailbone down, anchoring the tailbone down towards the earth. And notice that as you do this, there's more space for you to grow tall. So the more you anchor, the more you can rise. Breathing some spaciousness into the vertebrae. Bringing your awareness from the tailbone up the spine. Gently lengthening the back of the neck. Opening the crown of the head to the sky above. And taking your attention out to your hands. Noticing the placement of your hands wherever they are. Maybe they're in your lap or on your knees. Noticing how your wrists connect to your palms. And notice your forearms, and maybe if your hands are placed down, you'll notice a spiral of the forearms, a kind of spiral open to the elbow. Noticing the front of your upper arms, your biceps, the back of the upper arms, the triceps. And noticing how the top of the arms connect into the shoulder girdle. You can imagine the ball and socket joint here. How the arms are kind of floating in this socket, connected to the clavicle across the front of the body, and connected back to your shoulder blades. And feeling those wings on your back and how they're placed, just floating on your upper back. And then from here, we're going to start to engage our Pilates breath. So as you exhale, start to draw the navel in and up until you feel your transverse abdominis, this muscle that wraps around like a corset muscle. Same muscle that contracts when you laugh or you cough. Starting to get that nice HA ha out the mouth. And then continuing to draw the navel up and in even as you inhale. So because you're drawing the navel in, that inhale naturally gets sent into the rib cage, breathing spaciousness between the ribs into the sides and back of the rib cage, keeping their shoulders down and keeping the front of the chest relaxed. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling ha through the mouth. Feeling the warmth of your core here. And that nice oceanic or Darth Vader-like breath. A gentle constriction to control the breath. And if you've had the eyes closed, you can open them. We're going to take the arms out in front of us. And on the inhale, we're going to just start to lift the arms up. And on the exhale, down. So if you do this without any awareness or mindfulness, it might start to feel like you're lifting from the top of the arm. What we want to start to think about here is that as we lift, all we're doing is drawing the shoulder blades down the back, engaging the lats, so these big muscles along the back of the body to lift. And we're going to start to notice the place of our rib cage. So we're keeping the ribs aligned over the hips. So as I lift, at some point, if I lift too far, I might start to break at the ribs and start to arch back to create this space back here, or really jam up into the shoulder. So instead of doing that, we're going to connect into your abs here, connecting the ribs down, and just getting to the place where there might be a little bit of tension and not going past it. So you'll notice for me, this point is actually in front of my face, in front of my ears. I only go to about here because if I go past there, I start to feel tension in my shoulders and I start to pop the ribs. Keeping a nice round through the arms here. And really noticing that sliding down and back of the rib cage. And noticing that you're not a robot. So, we don't need these kind of straight arms, that there's a natural rounding and spiraling in the arms as you come up. And even maybe a natural opening upwards. So what I mean by that is they may start to open wider as you come up. What you're looking for here is the path of most ease. So how can you keep your shoulders as relaxed and easeful as possible? Let's do one of these. And bring them down. We're going to take them out towards the sides, but when I say side, I don't mean like in yoga, people are often trying to get this very linear, perpendicular to the mat kind of look, but our shoulders are actually naturally in front of the ribs. So pulling them back like this can actually create a lot of tension in the upper back and the neck. And that a natural atomic aligned position, the shoulders are slightly in front. And so when I lift to the sides, I'm actually lifting more towards the diagonal or to this rounded corner than I am straight out beside me. And so again, finding that place of most ease. And here it may start to feel like you're curving around the edges of a globe or a big yoga ball. And then again, we're not coming all the way up. We're just coming to this point where we can keep everything engaged. So you may get up a bit further with this one, but keeping that nice round globe, and start to bring your attention to your shoulder blades and the way that they spiral open to come up. See if you can take the work out of your upper arms and into your latissimus dorsi, so the big muscles down the back. So I'm drawing down, and that drawing down creates a floating. And the shoulders are relaxed and easeful. And you can play with this and play with those angles and notice there's going to be a place where it feels actually quite easeful, quite natural. You are a three-dimensional human body. You're not a robot who needs to align to some specific, linear standard. We're actually much more three-dimensional and we have much more spirals in our body than that. Beautiful. Any questions about that? Good. Does that feel good? It should feel kind of nice, like a releasing of the shoulders. From here, we're going to just rotate the shoulders in and out. So one palm faces the back wall and the other palm forward. So we're just getting a bit of a stretch across the body. You'll notice this spiraling from one through the clavicle and through the shoulder girdle. And the image that comes to mind for me is like a piece of dough that is rolled up into like a braided bread. And just taking a moment to feel that across the body. Just notice what that is and get that sense of what is a shoulder rotated forward and what is a shoulder rotated back. Nice. And from here, we're going to do something called a rope pull. So I'm going to take my hand to the side, the palm's facing down and the thumb is down. And I'm going to draw into the shoulder blade. So what I'm doing is drawing the shoulder blade, I don't know if you can really see a black shirt, into the spine. This is working your rhomboids in your upper back. And as I do this, notice that there's this natural spiraling that happens so the palm starts to face a little more forward. So this is different than just rotating the arm, see that? Or just pulling in, right? It's a pulling in that creates this natural spiraling motion. Nice. So you should really feel like you can even find, if you can reach with your hand where your spine is, and just beside it, you can feel your shoulder blade come in and squeeze. Good. And then see if you can stabilize here so we're not pulling back like this, but we're stabilizing through the core, keeping the body nice and long. And I'm starting to feel quite the burning in my upper back here. So this can actually create quite a bit of work, just a small rotation. Yeah, I'm seeing some nods, so that's good. Release. So you know you're doing it. Good. Let's try the other side. So palm down. Again, different than just rotating the arm, different than just trying to plug in. We're plugging in to create this spiral, drawing the shoulder blade in, keeping the spine tall. And you can just breathe normally here, or if you want to start to engage Pilates breath, that's fine too. But focus here for now is just on this movement, on this fundamental, feeling how this is like the core of the arm, right? You can really feel that connection through the fascia, through the way all the tendons and everything is connected, and that as you engage here, you affect the arm. Nice. Yeah. Good. Yeah, and I'm seeing some of you, it's looking a little bit more like a rotation, rather like just, do you see the difference on me versus a full pulling in? And sometimes it's helpful to reach out of the socket for a second just to feel what it's like to pull back into the socket. Yeah. And it's tricky. I'm not with you, so I can't always tell, but something you can do with, if you have someone else with you, you can have them place their fingers between your shoulder blades and feel if you can actually squeeze against their fingers. Let's try this with both arms. So palms up, so the slight rotation forward with the thumbs down, shoulder blades draw in, and now you can really feel them kiss each other and reach out. Draw in to kiss, natural rotation slightly forward or back with the shoulders, forward with the hands. And in, yeah, nice. Good, and make sure you're not popping your ribs. So we're just plugging in. We're not creating this sort of motion. So again, keeping that neutral spine, keeping the upper back nice and safe there. And the arms are slightly in front. Let's just do a couple more of those. Good, and give it a little shake. Yeah, everyone feel that in the upper back? Yes, okay. At least I see some thumbs up. So now we're going to talk about arm placement, and we're going to put this all together in some exercises. So with your palms, when we come to the floor and we're in plank or anything on our hands, we want to think of that same spiraling in kind of motion that we did here, except the arms are out in front. So we're just going to take our palms out in front of us. You know, you can flex the hands And from here, let's start with the hands slightly rotated in and feel how when you do that, you kind of pull your shoulder blades out and you're almost pulling your shoulders out of your shoulder joint. It shouldn't feel very, like it doesn't feel very good other than maybe it feeling like a stretch, but it's not a stable position, right? You feel that and it's like, oh, I'm out of my core here. So we're gonna start from there. We're gonna do that rotating outward and drawing in motion, and not just drawing in, but drawing down. And notice how the hands are slightly rotated out. So from center, we rotate out and down. So there's this outward spiraling. Again, it's not happening from my wrists. It's happening from the upper back, spiraling in. And you can see the way my shoulder blades plug in here. And I start to create a little bit more stability that way. And I'm really working the upper back to do this. And some of you look like you're maybe going the opposite direction. So the rotation is the arms will end up rotating out because you're drawing the shoulder blades in and down. And you're not thinking just into each other, but also down the back, like you're sucking the tips of your shoulder blades down towards your hips. So this might make a little bit more sense if we come down to the floor. So we're gonna come onto our hands and knees here. And we're just gonna take a moment with the hands slightly inward, so the index fingers are pointing diagonally towards each other. Then without too much weight on the hands for now, just feel that rotating outwards, down and in. And then as you plug in, you'll notice that the middle of your index and middle finger is what's pointing forward. So if you find your middle and your index finger, between them is what's directly pointing forward. You know, sometimes people say middle finger or second finger forward, but that's actually coming from this place of just trying to get straight lines rather than thinking atomically about the body. So the fingers are slightly rotated out towards the corners of the mats, and the shoulder blades are really plugged in and down. Now just feel how stable that is. So this is your hand positioning. You may want to think about cupping your hands a little bit too. So rather than flat hands, a slight round, like you're trying to create an arch with your palm and you're pressing out into your fingertips. Making sense? Yeah. Okay. From here, we're just going to release the spine. So keep the shoulder blades plugged in and down. And we're just going to inhale to lift the heart and the tail. And on the exhale, round. Nice little cat-cow here just to release. One more in either direction. Coming back to neutral here. With your chest, we're just going to drop the chest through the shoulder blades. So we're releasing that position with the shoulders, and then we're going to press back up. So notice this is different than a full cat-cow. The motion is really sucking the shoulder blades in together and then drawing them apart, creating space for the chest to drop and float above the arms. So see if you can get that. And you can start to think of this like finding the neutral of your upper back. So you found both ends of the range. There's one where it's like really collapsed, shoulder blades are together, shoulders are kind of sucked up towards the ears. And there's one where you're really pressed away, shoulders are almost like pulled out of the sockets. And there's more of a round through the upper back. We're gonna find that place in the middle. And then again, if it's helpful to take the fingertips in and then rotate them out, draw the shoulder blades down the back, and you've found your neutral here, and making sure that your hips are neutral as well. We're gonna start to breathe into the sides and back of our ribs. And on your exhale, draw your navel in and up. H-A-ha out the mouth, finding that Pilates breath. Take another breath in. And on your next exhale, we'll float one arm up, draw the shoulder blade down the back to lift the arm, and then inhale to bring it back to center, and nothing else in the body theoretically has moved. Now, as you send the opposite arm out, notice again that this is the same foundation as when we were sitting and we were lifting the arms in front. So we're going to start to think about, rather than just lifting the arm, drawing the shoulder blade down and down the back to create length. So there's almost like an equal contraction down to create a lifting upwards. Switching each arm with each breath. Then once you've evened out both arms, reset your arm stability here. And we're just going to extend the right leg back, give a little flex into the foot, give your calf a little stretch, and then check out your hip alignment here. Make sure your hips are level. Breathing your Pilates breath, and on your next exhale, we can lift the leg. And we're just going to hold here and breathe, drawing in and up, maintaining that connection through the shoulders. If you want to add a little more, you can take the opposite arm and extend it out. Rib cage arms, arm floating, but keeping the ribs down and in, lengthening through the back of the neck, and then just practicing that Pilates breath. So navel is drawing in and up. Shoulder blade is sliding down the back. Back of the neck is long and hips are level. One more breath. And then leg and arm can come back down. Reset the arms. Take the opposite foot out. Extend out the heel. Just a little stretch for the calf with the foot still on the floor. Making sure you're in a nice neutral position. And then when you're ready, you can float that foot off the floor. Maintaining your Pilates breath. And then if you'd like to add on, you can extend the opposite arm. Again, shoulder blade slides down in order to lift. Keeping length, drawing your ribs in towards your hips. One more breath, and exhale down. Good. Maintain those fingertips slightly out, shoulder blades slide down the back. And we're gonna go either one hand, then the other leg, or just opposite arm and leg if you're ready for the next step. So we're gonna inhale. On your exhale, lift, either one arm and one leg together. And then exhale to lower down. Take a breath at center. Exhale to lift. Inhale to hold. And exhale to lower. So we're just moving on that exhale. Inhaling into your ribs. Exhale, drawing down through the lats to lift the arm. Exhale, lower. Let's do one more. And lowering down. Beautiful. Give your wrists a little shake out if they need a little break. And feel free, we're going to be on the arms quite a bit today, so just feel free to shake out the wrists anytime you need to. You can also do these little puppy dog arms where you take fists and draw the fists forward as a nice stretch for the wrists. So from here, we're going to come into a plank. So same foundation. So we're focusing on that arm foundation. So we start with an outward rotation or inward rotation. We rotate the arms out, rotating the arm bones, spiraling down and into the joint. So they're nice and supported in that joint. And then we're going to walk the knees back until the knees to the top of your head is a long line. Making sure that your shoulders are directly stacked over your wrists. And your arms aren't locked here. There's a micro bend in the elbow. Nice. And then just breathing your Pilates breath here. And if you have wrist issues, you always have the option of taking this down to the elbows. But we're really focusing on drawing the shoulder blades down the back and keeping the ribs in line with the hips. If you want a little more, we can lift the knees off and take this into a full plank, lifting the belly button up and in. And then practicing that breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, into the ribs. Transverse abdominis engaged the entire time. Ribs drawing towards your hips, heels reaching back, length through the back of the neck. And so you're working, but you're calm and relaxed as you can be. Taking one more breath here. And then when you're ready on your exhale, you can drop the knees, maybe send the hips back if child's pose is available to you. And then we're going to come right away into a second set. So you can do the exact same thing, or you can join me in doing a little leg kick. So this is called leg pull front support. Pilates names are not that exciting. So we're going to come back into the plank. If you want to take this other option with me, it's just a little kick through one foot. It's inhale, inhale, double kick, and exhale to lower. It looks like this. And notice that lift is just happening from the legs, so I'm not doing anything weird with the spine. And you can also just practice with the breath. So if you're not already in it, come in, shoulder blades down the back, find your position. And you could also do that from the knees, just a little kick up, and then on the exhale, drop the opposite or drop the knee back down. 2 steps in through the nose, 1 through the mouth. 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop the knees back, release the hips back if it's available to you. You can give your wrists a little circle. Beautiful. From here, we are going to come onto our side. So I know a couple of you talked about feeling it in your shoulder when you come into side plank. So let's see if this foundation can help us a bit. So on the side, if you take your palm, so the fingertips are forward, you'll notice that your shoulder rotates slightly out of the socket. So you're going to draw the shoulder blade in, and what that will do is rotate the arm bone so that the fingertips are pointing more towards the corner of the mat. So feel that plugging in sensation. Keep that engagement there. Then from here, align your shoulder over your wrist and walk your knees back so that your knees and your wrist are in the same line. Readjust as you need to so that makes sense. The wrist or the shoulder is still above the wrist. And then we're going to breathe here. Nice one. Keep breathing. Just going to adjust this camera a little bit. Good. So shoulder blade drawing in and down, and then finding that nice stacking of the hips. And then option here, little rib cage arms. We're going to inhale the arm up and over and exhale back. It's just like that circle we did before around the globe. So your arm's slightly in front of you. You can think of it like a little bit of a massage for the shoulder joint and teaching that upper shoulder blade to gently draw down the back. Now, you might still be feeling a lot in your arm or your wrist, but what we are starting to work here is the under obliques. So if you take your hand to this top bit here, should be nice and squishy, and then you come under here, it's rock hard. So those are your obliques working. We're gonna take one more breath here, and then exhale down. Good. Take that bottom wrist, give it a little circle a few times in each direction. Let's come back. So option 2 to do the same thing with the knees bent, or we'll add on, again, rotating the arm bone in, which rotates the fingertips out. Pressing into the fingertips, we're going to come up onto the knees first, and then extend that top leg. Top arm can come up, hand is slightly in front, shoulder blades plugged in. Good, and if you want to add a little more with the leg, we're going to lift the leg. I'm going to point the toe, do 2 kicks forward, and then on the exhale, flex the foot and come back. Let me just rearrange myself here. So it looks like this. So it's the same breath, and I really have to stabilize because as I kick forward, my body's going to want to go back, and as I kick back, my body's going to come forward. So I'm keeping my upper body stabilized exactly where it is, and just moving the leg forward, forward, back, behind. Inhale, inhale, exhale, point, point, flex. 2 more. Good, take a breath here, back to center, release down, We're going to take the bottom arm up and over. You could grab your side or wherever you need to balance here and take a little stretch through the side. And if you like, you could even circle out that wrist on top. Good. Come back over and we'll flip it to the other side. So if the wrist starts forward, shoulder blade slightly out of the socket, if we draw the shoulder blade in and down, then that wrist will naturally spiral open so the fingertips are facing towards the corner of the mat. Good. From here, keeping that plugged in, finding your knees in a line with your wrist, and then hips are forward so the knees, hips are aligned, and we breathe here. Remembering your Pilates breath. And you can check out too, rock hard underneath. That's your obliques working. It's softer on top. And then if you want to add the arm, we're going to inhale up and exhale down like a half globe. Really bringing the attention to relaxing the shoulder down, keeping the bottom shoulder blade plugged in, keeping length through the entire spine. Nice. And the arm stuff is just optional. And you always can take this down to the elbow if the wrist is bugging you. One more here. Releasing down. Good. Give that wrist a little shake. And we'll come into second set. You can do the same thing, or you can add the leg and breathe there, or you can add the kick. So again, shoulder blade drawing in and down, shoulder directly stacked over the wrist or the elbow if you're taking that option, finding the knee and heel if you're taking the extended leg, aligned with the shoulder, or it can be released up and relaxed here. And then if you're adding the kick, we're going to point, inhale, inhale, 2 kicks forward, exhale, flex back. So notice how you have to, if you're doing the kick, really stabilize the upper torso and the hips to prevent from falling forward or backwards. 2 more. Last one. Good, come back to center and roll it down, bend the knees, and we'll take the arm up and over. And you can give it a little circle if you like, in either direction. So we're going to come into a really fun move called full prone extension. Just watch it on me first. It is an advanced move, but I think you'll get it. So we're going to do the same thing, but from the elbows now. So with the elbows are right under the shoulders, and the foundation of the shoulders is still the same. It just might take a little bit more to think about how to do that without thinking about the wrist. Can kind of help you think about it, but it's the same action of spiraling the arm bones in. I'll demonstrate from the knees first. We're going to inhale here. On the exhale, I'm going to send the knees to the side and then come over into a side, like a version of a side plank. Inhale there, and then exhale down and to the other side. If we were to do it full, inhale, exhale to lift. Inhale at the top. I'm dragging my microphone with me, and then exhale to roll. So the feet come first, and then the shoulder is like a millisecond later, but you're still doing it on the out breath. Any questions? If you've got knee stuff and you want to take the knee option, you can fold a bunch of, or add some extra padding under the knees, because it is quite the rotation to do on the kneecap. So pillows, whatever, are totally fine. Otherwise, you could try doing the full version with the legs extended. Great. I'll do.
Please do it again.
Yeah, totally. So I'm coming onto the sides of the feet and then exhaling, drawing the shoulders on top of each other, inhaling there, and then I'm exhaling to bring the toes down and then exhaling to bring the elbow down. A little hard for me to talk and do it at the same time. Is that good? Perfect. All right, let's do it. And I'll do it with you so we're together. Okay, so first find that foundation. If you're on your knees or your feet, rotate the shoulder blades down and in by spiraling the upper arm bones outwards. Take a breath here. On your exhale, you can stack the feet and then stack the shoulders. Inhale on the side. And then exhale down. And I won't talk through the whole thing because some of us are going to have different paces. And my balance is actually not very good today. So, you know, some days are better than others. But what you're doing here is inhaling in one position and exhaling to move to the next position, inhaling in the opposite position, and then exhaling to come to the other side. And there's a lot to focus on here, but make sure when you come back into the plank position that you haven't dropped the chest through the shoulder blades. So those exercises we did at the beginning when we're finding neutral of the upper back, see if you can keep that there. It might feel like you need to puff up the back a little bit, but don't over exaggerate it. Let's do one or two more. Make sure you're evened out. And then when you're done, you can drop to your belly on your elbows if this is accessible to you. If not, you can come to another position and just draw your belly forward as you draw the elbows back, or you can come to child's pose if you need to keep the arch out of your spine. Nice one. How do you do? Great. Okay. Let's review our swans. We're going to leave the arms for a second. I'm sure they would love that. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders and your forehead to the floor. Drop the tops of your feet onto the mat. So we've done this before. I'll talk you through. Draw your shoulder blades down and back. On your inhale, think about reaching the crown of your head to the opposite end of the room. And on the exhale, gently draw the shoulder blades down to lift the chest and keep the back of the neck long. Inhale at the top, and then exhale one vertebrae at a time, slowly row down. So this is our swan. On the inhale, lengthen forward. On the exhale, draw the shoulder blades back. So we're lifting from a place of length. So the focus isn't getting up as high as you can. The focus is lifting with a nice long spine. Again, exhaling to draw back. Notice. So we've been bringing a lot of attention and awareness to the shoulder blades and the upper back. So notice the work that they're doing here to create that lift. The neck is relaxed. Exhaling to move, shoulder blades slide down, connecting to the rhomboids, those big muscles that come down the sides of your spine. And exhale to lower, softening the sternum. One more here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift. Inhale at the top and exhale, lower. So we're going to come into swimming. So we're going to bring our arms in front of us with the palms down. Notice here that as you do that, the shoulders might come up towards the ears a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug the shoulder blades down. And then as you do that, you may notice that your arms widen a little bit. So what I mean by this is if I'm, how can I show this to you? If I'm here with my arms up, straight up, notice how my shoulders come up to my ears. if I plug the shoulder blades down, notice how my arms are actually a lot wider, and this will depend on the angle of your own specific body. So mine actually kind of widen quite a bit. So when we're reaching out in front of us, we don't need to get into these perfect parallel lines. We're getting into a place where we can plug into the shoulder blades, and the arms may be a little bit wider because of that, and that's beautiful because you're three-dimensional. So arms forward, plug the shoulder blades back. As you spiral in, the arms might widen a little bit. We're going to inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring head, neck, and shoulders and arms and legs off the floor. Some of you will want to just hold and breathe here. Some of you will want to come into swimming, so we're paddling opposite arm and leg. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, keeping length through the back of the neck, staying lifted in the upper body, and keeping those shoulder blades plugged in and down. So we're paddling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or as quick or as slow as feels good in your body. Maybe lift a little higher, balancing on your hip bones. Maintain that Pilates breath so your belly button's lifting up away from the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath, extend everything. Exhale, hands underneath your forehead. Come down and give your hips a little shake from side to side to release the body. Beautiful. Okay, and of course I've planned way more than we have time for. We're gonna take the hands underneath the shoulders and push up. So let's come to some review, and we'll see how our arms come into some of our other exercises. We're gonna bring the feet forward and come into a slow roll down. So as we take the arms forward, again, that feeling of the shoulder blades sliding down to create that lift, a little bit of a round through the arms, a natural rounding. And we're gonna come down, maybe not for a full count of 60, but as slow as you can, one vertebrae at a time, rolling all the way down to the floor. So we start at the top. Exhale, start to curl through your lower belly. And if you need the support of the legs, you can start to extend them out. That weight will make it a little bit easier than keeping the knees bent the whole time. Keep the shoulder blades plugged in. So here the tendency is to want to reach away to create a counterbalance. Keep them plugged in. It might make it a little harder, but you'll gain a lot more strength because of it. If you come down before I'm ready, that's okay. We're all going to come down at different times, sequencing through the spine. Whenever you get to the bottom, you can take a stretch and take a breath. Rolling all the way down and release the hands by the side. So we're going to come into our roll up, which we did last week, but we're going to bring a bit more focus to the arms here. So this lifting to come up, it's that same position we did at the beginning, same fundamental. So I'm sliding the shoulder blades down to bring the arms just by the ears, not all the way back because I start to break through the spine. And on the exhale, nose nod, head float, come up. Maybe you come halfway, see if you can take a breath at the top and roll back down. Or you can do a full roll up, which I'll talk through together. So if you're not already in it, I'm gonna inhale, lengthen arms over by the ears. Exhale, nod the nose. Exhale, exhale, come up. If you're coming through full roll up, keep exhaling all the way. Scoop the belly, bowing, lifting the chest up and over. And then on the inhale, stack the spine in neutral. And on the exhale, we roll back one vertebrae at a time, all the way down. So I'm going to talk through a full roll up again. If you're doing half, that's totally fine. Inhale by the ears. Exhale, arms forward just in front, tuck the chin, head float, keeping the shoulder blades plugged in even as you come up, keeping the round through the arms, scooping the belly up and over, and then inhale, tall shoulder blades plug back in, and we roll down. Let's do a few more of those. And I'm just going to take a quick peek to see how you're doing. So keep moving through it. Good. Yeah. Nice. Scooping the belly as you come up and over. Scoop, scoop, scoop as you come up before you come into neutral. Yeah. Beautiful. Good. Reach out the heels. Nice one. Good. Let's do one more. Good. Relax the arm bones. Yeah. And once you come to the top, scoop. And last one, we're going to come back to the floor. Good. Take a breath and relax. Once you've come to the floor, you can just check me out. Well, I demonstrate this one. So we're going to find neutral spine. So again, the back is not flattened here. Pilates breath, we bring it up. We're going to come into double leg stretch. So with the hands behind the head, I nose nod, exhale to come up. So first option here is to just work the arms around and down. So we're trying that same globe position and the top to bottom position, and you can go in either direction. So this is a natural release for the shoulders, reminds the neck to be relaxed. If you wanted to do the full double leg stretch, we would extend the arms and legs at the same time and then circle around and in. So let's actually do this, just the arms first before we come into it together. So keep your back in neutral, inhaling into your ribs, exhaling into your belly. We're going to inhale to lift the arms up by the ears, and then exhale like a globe circling around so you can see the hands in your periphery. Good. Let's do that again. Inhaling up by the ears and exhaling around and down. Good. Let's do this with the rest of the exercise. Inhaling into the ribs. Exhaling to bring knees up to tabletop. Pelvis is in neutral. Inhale, nose nod. Hands can be behind the neck. Exhale, head, neck, and shoulders come off the floor. If you want to add arms here, we can inhale up and exhale around and in. If you want to add legs, inhale, arms and legs, extend, and exhale to come in. If you need to keep your hands behind your neck, if your neck is sore, if you've got anything else going on, that's totally fine too. If you are using the arm, see if you can really focus on finding the place of most ease through the shoulder joint. Good, and then not remembering to keep your pelvis in neutral says the legs extend away, drawing the navel in and down so that you don't arch your spine. Stay lifted through the upper body, keeping the navel in and down. Three more here. Last one. Take a breath. Exhale, lower head, neck, and shoulders. Hug the knees into the chest. Good. All right. We're going to come up, so you can roll over to your side or do a roll up to come up. So if you're doing the roll up, arms by the ears, exhale, nose nod, head float, exhale, 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 bring everything up, scoop up over the legs, little spine stretch, and then inhale to sit tall. Good. From here, we're going to take the hands behind us. We're almost there today. And we're going to do leg pull back support. So the hands are going to come behind us. Same idea here. If your fingertips are pointed towards your feet, the shoulders are going to be slightly out. So you're going to rotate the shoulder blades in. It'll bring the fingers so that they're out at the angle here. But the focus is rotating the arm bones in and down. We can bring the feet to the floor from here. We're just going to lift the seat off the floor. What's most important is not how high you come, it's that your pelvis is in neutral. So from your hip bones to your ribs, nice long spine. And then from here, we're just going to exhale, press up, and inhale, center. Exhale, press up. See if you can keep your head facing forward. Keeping those shoulder blades plugged in and down and away from your ears. And one more little glute exercise. We're going to come down, place the seat down, and then we're going to exhale, bend the elbows back, and inhale to press them back up. So you're still plugged into the shoulders, but we're just adding a little bit of tricep dip. You can keep going with these, or if you'd like a little more, you can lift the seat and just do the arms with the seat lifted. Trying to keep the shoulder blades plugged down. So what the tendency will be to here is to collapse so that your chin starts to get sucked into your shoulders. So keeping it tall. Nice. And one more. Yeah, release down here. Good. If you need to take a break for the wrists, you can pull them out. And then we're going to extend the legs. Reset the arms, so slight rotating outwards, drawing the shoulder blades in and down. And then from here, see if you can lift the entire seat so that from your toes to the shoulders is a nice long line. So it's okay if you're dipped like I am, but maybe you can get it into a nice long line. Keep your head forward so we're not lengthening the neck back for this one. It's just floating on top. I'm gonna breathe here. So notice I can really collapse into the shoulders, or I could like over puff up, which is actually quite hard. You just want that place in the middle. Practicing your Pilates breath. And if you want one more last challenge, maybe we lift one leg up and breathe here. And switching legs. And releasing down with both legs. One more breath. Exhale to lower. Release the hands. Give them a shake. And come back to center here. Good. Yeah, let's take puppy dog arms. So we bring our wrists, our fists together and drop the wrists forward. Puppy dog. Should feel like a nice stretch on the back of their hands and looks adorable. Extra bonus. Good. And then gently pull your hands. So you're trying to pull the open space in the joint. Good. And we're going to come down to one last standing exercise. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees again. Starting from our plank position. So we're going to draw the shoulder blades down and back, and you can just come into this. I'll just talk through it. Walking the knees back to the top of your head, one nice long line. I'll come through. We're going to press up into our plank, sorry. Inhale here. Bend the knees deeply, and then keeping neutral spine, walking the hands back slowly to your feet. So we did this in the first class. Like a ninja, rolling all the way down to your feet. Keep the knees nice and bent so you keep a nice long spine. Inhale here. Exhale, Pilates breath, walking forward without scooping the hips side to side, keeping it nice and stable and controlled. Inhaling here, option to drop the knees. Exhale, draw the elbows in towards the hips, little half push-up, and then exhale, press up, and then walk it back to your feet. Inhaling here, exhaling forward. Inhaling in plank, you could do full or half plank. Exhale, elbows back. So it's similar to a chaturanga. And inhale back up. And exhale, walk the hands back to the feet. Good. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk forward. Last one here. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, elbows in. Inhale, push up. This time, exhale, press the hips back, downward facing dog. Keeping a nice long spine here. Pressing, so you are going to break what we were talking about before here so that your shoulders do come past your ears, just to create a little bit of that stretch. And then keeping the spine in neutral, we're just going to inhale over to plank. Exhale. Inhale back to down dog. Exhale. Inhale back to plank. Exhale. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale to plank. Exhale, drop the knees. Press the hips back. Nice long stretch through the spine. And then we'll roll it back to seated. Good. So stretching to set the foundation for a bit of a flow there. Then we're going to take one arm, bring it across the body, draw the arm in, little stretch across this outer shoulder. And you can release your Pilates breath and come into a nice soft belly breath here. Good, and then take that same arm, we're going to send it up and back. So you're trying to touch your shoulder, and this top elbow, we're going to drop back, little stretch for the tricep. Releasing into a nice soft belly breath. And we release this arm, other arm comes across, gently hug in, creating length along the outer arm bone. And then we'll bring the elbow up, gently drawing the elbow back. Whew. This side is tight for me. And releasing this side, we're going to spread the arms out. Give yourself a big hug. You can round in here. Maybe you could even reach back to grab your shoulder blades and gently draw them away from each other, pressing the back of your heart through that space between your shoulder blades. And of course, filling yourself with deep love and self-compassion here. Notice which arm is on top. We're going to inhale to expand. Opposite arm is going to come over. Give yourself a nice big hug. If it feels good to sway it side to side, that's an option too. And we'll reach back, all the way back. Interlace your fingers behind you. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Lift the heart, little arch of the spine, drawing your heart forward through the chest. Good. And then taking the hands down by your side. You're going to take one hand to one shoulder, the opposite hand to your ribs. And you can close your eyes here. A little bit of a somatic meditation. So just feeling that space as you breathe, feeling your rib expand into the hand that's on your rib. And just giving a little love and attention to the shoulder where your other hand is. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And then switching sides, so the other hand to the other rib, switching to the other shoulder. And here you can even create a bit of weight, so that top hand is gently pressing the shoulder down, gently giving it the guidance to release. And feeling your breath into your ribs as you breathe softly. A lot of us hold tension in the shoulders, hold our stress here. So there's a good chance just to remind the body that it's okay to release. Taking one more deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Arms can release. Inhale, gather up. And exhale, returning to prayer. Thank you.